So this is my sharing video, and I'm going to talk about CSS transitions. It seems like there's a lot of videos this week about CSS stuff, but I'm going to jump in the fray and hopefully teach you guys something new. So let's just get over into it. Let me share my screen. And all right, so here we go. Sorry, there's no description here yet. This site is live on thismitchellfamily.com/portfolio. You can also go to my GitHub to check it out, to download it yourself if you'd like to play around with it. So what we got here, this is some basic stuff. This is off of, I think it was off of Mozilla Development Network. But similar stuff exists on W3 schools. And the idea here being that so a transition is something that begins for any particular reason, for a certain type of event. It could be on hover, it could be on a mouse click or on a form submit or whatever. You could do transitions for pretty much anything, page load. But in this case, it's going to be for a hover. And what it is that it just transitions between one CSS property and another. So in the case here, where we have a width and a height and a background color defined, and then so we have a width, height, and background color defined, and we target those three things here. We also target a transform, which actually only exists down here in the hover state. So this transition is going to, if you notice, let me just real quick go over my transformations page, or my transforms page, and you notice when I do a transform, if I just do it on a hover, it just happens automatically. This is a rotate Y, rotate X, near practically 180 degrees. And then this is just rotating a few degrees this way. These would do almost like a three-dimensional flip, like rotating along the x-axis, like there was a skewer through it here, and the y-axis, like there's a skewer through it this way, and this one is like the skewer is going straight through from your eyes to the back of the screen. But they happen immediately when you hover on them. There's no slowness to it. There's no effects, anything like that. Transitions allows us to apply those types of effects. So we give it a time frame, and we give the transform kind of a cubic Bezier, the same way that you do ease or ease in or ease out, things like that. Cubic Bezier allows you to be a little bit more clear in your definition of it. And I've got a link down in my sources down below for a cool tool that helps you define cubic Bezier. So if we want to watch this transition, all we have to do is hover over this box. And sure enough, we get a color change, a height change, a width change, and we get that rotation. And I hover off of it, and you notice it has a little bit of a bounce to it at the beginning and end of the rotation. That's because of the cubic Bezier definition. There's a few transition properties, not as many as there are for animations. And the last one here is just the shorthand form, so that you wouldn't have to, well, you see that here. This is the shorthand transition. So it defines any of the properties that are going to change as a comma separated list, and then each one of them is going to have some of these properties. It's going to have at least the CSS property, which is width, for example, there, the duration, which is 2 seconds, the timing function. That's what you see here with the cubic Bezier. So you've got transform, 1 second, cubic Bezier. So now that's a timing function. And you've got a lot of predefined ones, and then you've got some that you can define with, like cubic Bezier with or steps. You can also do a number of steps from start or end. And then transition delay, if you don't want it to happen right away. If you wanted me to hover over the box and for it to take 1 second before it starts doing that, you could do that there as well. And then, like I said, the shorthand. So you only have 4 properties to define at most. And the only 2 required are the property and the duration. So what I wanted to do was something a little bit more interesting. It was to have a event trigger the transform. And the event that I wanted to use was a mouse click. So what I decided to do is create an area with a ball. And so I've got my area div definition here, my ball div definition here. And it's got the, not all of these are necessary, but it's got the different syntaxes for the different browsers. But it's just going to transition all the properties in 1 second. And the only ones that are going to be changing, you'll see, are the X and Y, the width, or the top and the left. But it's just an easy way to target everything. And then what I have here is some JavaScript that it goes out and gets the ball as F. I don't know why I chose F for the ball, and A for the area, and adds an event listener to A, which is the area here. That is, it's listening for a click. And if it hears a click, it's going to perform the function E. And it's going to take the ball top left position, or the left position and the top position. And there's some offset things here. The event is the E here. It's a user-defined variable. And the page X and page Y is where I'm clicking in the browser. And then I'm offsetting by this element so that I'm actually getting a true click on where I am in the field. Otherwise, it passes the wrong number and the ball ends up out of the area, and it's just kind of weird. And what I have here is a little, what's it called, ternary statement here. So let me. Oh, right. Yeah. So the left is going to equal E page X minus, if the offset is less than 50, the left, then, I'm sorry, if the offset left minus 50 is less than 0. So if I click somewhere over here and it's actually where the ball wants to go is out here, then it's just going to do it. Yeah, then it's just going to set it to 0 pixels. I'm sorry, I'm losing my place. So if I'm trying to click somewhere where it's going to send the ball further left or further up than it should be in both of these ternary statements, it's just going to set it directly to 0 pixels. Otherwise, it's going to set it to the left minus 50 pixels, or the E page X minus left, or minus this offset left minus 50 pixels. And so you'll see the result of this. If you have any questions about this code, I know it doesn't sound like I'm really explaining it very well. But basically, we come down here, this little light gray area is the area, and of course this is the ball. And if I click here, we get the ball, and it does a nice little ease, because ease is the default timing function. I don't know if I put that in here. Oh, whoops. Nope, I didn't change this description at all. So this description is not correct, but the transition timing function, I believe, defaults to ease. So you could choose any other ones, but since I didn't specify anything besides how long it would take, that's what I get. So it starts out quick and kind of eases back into its position. And it takes 1 second no matter where I click. If I click across this whole thing, it takes it 1 second to get there. If I click from there to here, it still takes 1 second. So it adjusts its speed accordingly. So feel free to come to my site, check out the code, copy it into your own, give it a try. I don't know if this will be useful in anyone's app, but it's fun to kind of play around with. I did look at gravity and things like that, and that typically uses HTML canvas elements, and there's some 2D animation functions that are more common to use for this kind of thing. I couldn't really get gravity to work with just transitions and some events. So maybe if I'd used a set interval, but even then, I tried a few things that wasn't working. So this is what we have. So feel free to check it out. Hope you like it. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a little bit here and just say thanks for listening. Have a good night.